Our next guest worked for more than 20 years on the campaign to get the ban on grizzly bear hunting in BC. With us today is Brian Falconer, the Raincoast Conservation Foundation's Guide Outfitter Coordinator. Brian, hi there. Good afternoon to you.
Hi, Gloria. Thanks for having me on.
What went through your mind when you first heard about this bear attack in Bella Bella?
Well, this is an extreme case for sure. Every single incident, every single conflict incident, and certainly every attack has a unique set of circumstances. And this is outside of my experience in 40 years of being around bears. An attack on a group this size is extremely rare. But also what went through my mind is the sort of predictable reaction is that people will capitalize on the emotion of this moment to try and reinstate the grizzly bear hunt.
Okay, and what goes through your mind when you hear that?
Well, it's, when you look at a single incident in a particular place, and your solution to that is to send, people out into the wild landscape and kill 350 bears a year, hoping that it's going to eliminate the behavior of one particular bad bear in an urban setting. It's just an absolute bizarre nonsense. It would be like if say a teenager committed a crime in a community and you send a bunch of people out to punish that whole group society-wide and kill a bunch of innocents because one committed a crime. It makes no sense, and it's certainly not supported by science. There's been numerous studies that show that there is no correlation between hunting and non-hunting and the number of encounters or conflict events with grizzly bears that track with hunting or non-hunting. What they do absolutely track with is the availability of natural food sources in those areas, in those environments. And when those food sources are thin, they start taking bigger chances coming into places where they wouldn't come.
Okay, so when you hear from the BC Wildlife Federation saying that lifting the ban would reduce violent conflicts between grizzly bears and humans, you say?
It's not simply I say. The studies have really, really borne out over the years, very extensive studies, that it will not reduce the amount of conflicts. It has no measurable effect. Over a 55-year period, a study was done that showed absolutely no measurable impact from one area where hunting occurred and places where hunting doesn't occur.
Okay. Well, the BC Wildlife Federation says it's not just this one incident. They pointed to the elk hunter in the East Kootenay who died of a blood clot last month. That was just weeks after surviving an attack by a grizzly bear. So what more do you think we can do to reduce these types of incidents?
Well, he even pointed out that these events are stochastic and that there are little clumps of them. A good number of the attacks are on hunters who have a wild animal that they've just killed laying on the ground and a pile of guts beside it. And that certainly can bring on an attack. But the real problem is not that bears are becoming more aggressive. The problem is that we are still not learning to deal with what attracts them into the communities. These events almost always take place in that transition zone, in that interface between the urban and the wild environment. And when animals are attracted into the urban environment, there's problems. And not every bear that wanders down the street is a danger. Once that bear starts to get food and has some reward for being in those places, it's going to take bigger and bigger risks. And those bears are dealt with. And I think the Conservation Officer Service has really dramatically improved a lot of their policies over the last couple of years. And I think people are quite willing, much more willing now to report to conservation officers bear interactions because they're less certain that they're going to be killed. I think that they have a very, very good approach. And no one has ever said that, dangerous bears shouldn't be eliminated. They have to be in a lot of cases, and there's just no way around that. But sending 350 people out into the wilderness to kill bears is not going to make children in these communities any safer. The science says that, and experience says that. And make no mistake about it, this is not about protecting children from bear attacks. This is about people, the hunting lobby groups, wanting to get back out into the landscape where they can kill grizzly bears, skin them out, and put them on the wall or on the floor as trophies. It's absolutely cynical, and it's an insult to the New Hulk people for them to raise this as a probable cure for these kind of attacks. I think the New Hulk they played a key role in ending the grizzly bear hunt, and they will make decisions around their own community. It's they have sovereignty, and they will absolutely make decisions around their community about making it safer. But my feeling is that those actions will not be in terms of trying to change the behavior of bears by killing a bunch of them, that it'll probably be to change the behavior of humans by helping them understand why bears do this stuff.
Brian, I'm really glad you were able to join us today. Your voice is important in this conversation. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me.
That's Brian Falconer, the Raincoast Conservation Foundation's guide outfitter coordinator. Brian worked for more than 20 years on the Raincoast-led campaign that led to BC's ban on grizzly bear hunting.